mind, here I am. I'm basically like a really nice Jewish girl, and my husband marries, and he's in the army, and now he's gone. Now you're an officer's wife. That is what you're called. You're an officer's wife. You know, two things. You're an officer's wife. You better not embarrass the officer, and you better know a social security number. Okay.
Wow.
So I was really blessed. He later became a general, but the full bird colonel was a man by the name of Colonel Brickman, and his wife was an exceptionally wonderful person. The light colonel, well, his last name was Lawson, and his wife also was. So I was very lucky that these two individuals, these women, were very nice people. They were nice, and they were very religious Christians. So we get to this one point, and the colonel's wife calls me, and she says, okay, she says, well, we're having a Christmas party, and what we're going to do is everybody's going to put together their Christmas cookie recipes, and we'll type them up, and then we'll take a picture of what you've presented, and then we'll all share at the officers' wives' coffee. So I said, you know, Mrs. Brickman, I said, I'm not really quite sure how you want to handle this. And she said, well, what? And I said, I don't make Christmas cookies. She said, so don't worry about it, sweetheart, if you're not a baker. I said, no, I'm Jewish. She goes, oh, you are? So I said, yeah, so we don't do really Christmas cookies. She says, well, what do Jews do around? Like I said, we have Hanukkah. So she says, okay, well, you do something. So I said, well, we make like potato latkes, because I wasn't going to start with like sufganiyot. Okay. So it was very difficult, because here I was only 25 years old.
Right.
And like it's this idea, like, don't embarrass the officer. Okay. So she says, well, that's a great idea. Rachel, how do you serve them? So I said, some people have sour cream, some people do it apple, so she's perfect. Why don't you set it up how you would do it with the recipe? Okay. And we'll make it Hanukkah potato pancakes. Okay. So that's what I did. But I felt like so nervous, like telling her
Yes.
that I don't do Christmas cookies. It was like, so like immediately, like you stand out, like you're the only Jew amongst all the non-Jews. And in that, you have to be very sure of yourself as a Jew to be able to carry that torch in this environment.
Right. You're on a balance between, you're either going to make a Kiddush Hashem or you're going to make a Chil Hashem, one or the other, and you've got a mandate, don't embarrass the officer.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, as a young girl, like really like, you know, we're taught certain things, you know, beautiful mitos and act this way and act that way. And so it's a really like a balance, you know, of how you're going to conduct yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you carry yourself with a certain dignity, and an officer's wife really has to do that. I mean, you really have to carry yourself with a dignity. How you are is a reflection. When Mark returned, the division artillery has a thing called a Devarty ball before Christmas. So at the Devarty ball, you come in, and so the colonel's there and his wife, and then the lieutenant colonel, his wife, and whoever the major was, I can't remember his name. Major Randall was and his wife. And they greet you as they come in. And so Mark had just returned from Fort Hood. And I remember the colonel said to me, he says, that's so nice to finally meet you, Captain Erlichman. We've had the privilege of having your wife with us these 6 months. And he says, she's done you proud. You know, the funny thing about it was, you know, when we were originally talking about learning different things in Judaism, I said to Mark, you know, I know that certain things don't interest you, but I learned, you know, the difference between the sounds of a Black Hawk and a Chinook and a Huey, and, you know, a 105 howitzer, a 155 howitzer. I said, I learned all that terminology. I learned my protocols. I learned my command. I learned this, I learned that. I mean, I was totally out of my water, you know, and I learned all of these things. So I can make you proud, and, you know, put in a little effort with the Yiddishkeit, you know.